Who's your daddy now?
How do we kill them?
However you can.
Predators, 2010, a complete film analysis, analyses and explanations. The film immediately establishes its mystery and disorientation in the opening sequence, dropping the protagonist, Royce, into an unknown situation without any context, forcing the audience to share his confusion and setting the tone for the entire survival narrative that follows. The film immediately establishes its mystery and disorientation in the opening sequence, dropping the protagonist, Royce, into an unknown situation without any context, forcing the audience to share his confusion and setting the tone for the entire survival narrative that follows. Producer Robert Rodriguez originally conceived the idea for a third Predator film in 1994, but the project spent 15 years in development hell before finally being greenlit by 20th Century Fox, demonstrating how passionate filmmakers often have to wait decades to realize their creative visions. The deliberate choice of the title Predators serves as both a homage to James Cameron's Aliens and a thematic statement about the dual nature of predation explored throughout the film, referring simultaneously to the extraterrestrial hunters and the human killers who now find themselves as prey. Principal photography spanned 53 days across diverse locations in Hawaii and Austin, Texas, with the production team working diligently to create an alien jungle environment that felt both exotic and terrifyingly real for audiences. The ensemble cast represents a carefully curated collection of Earth's most dangerous individuals, each bringing their unique cultural background and professional killing expertise to create a dynamic group that mirrors the diversity of human violence. Adrien Brody's casting as the lead action hero represented a significant departure from the physically imposing Arnold Schwarzenegger model, with the actor undergoing an intensive physical transformation to add 25 pounds of muscle while maintaining his characteristic intellectual intensity. Director Nimrod Antal explained that casting a traditionally muscular action star would have done the original film a disservice, instead choosing to focus on acting ability and presence, knowing he could use cinematic techniques to create the appearance of physical toughness. The opening sequence of characters parachuting into an unknown jungle immediately establishes the film's central premise of dislocation and vulnerability, stripping each character of their familiar environments and support systems. Isabel functions as the group's moral compass and peacemaker, carrying deep psychological guilt over failing to save her spotter during a mission, viewing her arrival on the alien planet as both punishment and opportunity for redemption. The diverse backgrounds of the human characters reflect different forms of human predation, from organized crime enforcers to military operatives to a death row inmate, creating a microcosm of human violence that the alien hunters find worthy of their sport. The moment when the survivors climb to high ground and observe the alien sky represents the film's first major revelation, confirming their worst fears that they are not on Earth and that rescue will not come from familiar sources. The discovery of strange monuments, empty cages, and deadfall traps in the jungle creates an immediate sense that others have come before them, establishing the planet as an established hunting ground with a long history of human prey. The attack by quadrupedal alien beasts serves as the first direct threat to the group, demonstrating that the predators are not the only dangerous creatures on this world, and that survival requires constant vigilance against multiple threats. Royce's deduction that they are on a game-preserved planet represents a crucial turning point in the narrative, transforming their situation from mysterious survival to a specific hunt where they are the intended quarry. The death of Cuchillo demonstrates the predator's tactical sophistication, using his body as bait to lure the remaining survivors into an ambush, treating the hunt as a strategic exercise rather than simple slaughter. The introduction of the captive classic predator creates immediate questions about predator society, suggesting internal conflicts and hierarchies within the species that previous films had not explored. The three super predators, Tracker, Berserker, and Falconer, represent an evolutionary or cultural divergence within the predator species, larger and more brutal than the classic predators familiar from the original film. Lawrence Fishburne's character Nolan provides essential exposition about the planet's function, while simultaneously demonstrating the psychological deterioration that results from prolonged solitary survival in such a hostile environment. Nolan's revelation that there is a blood feud between different classes of predators expands the franchise's mythology significantly, suggesting complex social structures and conflicts beneath the seemingly monolithic hunter culture. The explanation that the planet serves as a dedicated hunting preserve where multiple species are brought to be hunted creates a larger universe of predation, with the predators operating as intergalactic gamekeepers. Nolan's paranoia and eventual betrayal of the group serves as a warning about what Royce and the others might become if they survive too long, showing that isolation and fear can transform even skilled warriors into desperate threats. The death of Nikolai represents one of the film's most heroic moments, as the Russian Spetsnaz soldier sacrifices himself to kill Tracker and save Edwin, demonstrating that even hardened killers can find redemption through selfless action. Hanzo's decision to face Falconer in single combat with a katana represents a return to his samurai roots, choosing honorable death in battle over continued flight, and his victory proves that human skill and courage can overcome superior technology. The sword fight between Hanzo and Falconer stands as the film's most visually striking sequence, blending traditional Japanese martial arts with the Predator's advanced weaponry in a clash of ancient and futuristic combat styles. Edwin's revelation as a serial killer provides the film's most shocking twist, transforming the seemingly helpless doctor into the most disturbing predator of all, one who sees the alien planet as an ideal hunting ground for his own twisted purposes. Topher Grace initially doubted the role, but committed fully after understanding the film's ambition to be aliens to the original Predator, performing his own stunts and embracing the character's dark transformation. The neurotoxic poison that Edwin uses on Isabel demonstrates his extensive knowledge of the planet's deadly flora, suggesting he has been observing and learning even while pretending to be helpless. Royce's survival of the ship explosion and his return to save Isabel represents the culmination of his character arc, transforming from a selfish mercenary into someone willing to risk everything for another person. The booby-trapping of Edwin's body with grenades demonstrates Royce's tactical creativity and his ability to turn any situation to his advantage, using even a dead enemy as a weapon against the super predator. The final defeat of Berserker through teamwork and cunning rather than brute force reinforces the film's theme that human intelligence and cooperation can overcome superior physical power. The closing image of more parachutes descending in the distance creates a cyclical narrative, suggesting that the hunt continues endlessly and that Royce and Isabel may never truly escape this world. The film's critical reception on Rotten Tomatoes stands at 65%, with reviewers generally acknowledging it as a return to form after the Alien vs. Predator films while noting its narrative shortcomings. Lou Lumenick of the New York Post praised the film as delivering the sequel fans had waited 23 years for, recognizing its success in capturing the spirit of the original while expanding the mythology. Colin Covert of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune enthusiastically placed himself among the fanboys celebrating the film, acknowledging its appeal to the core audience while recognizing its broader entertainment value. Nigel Floyd of Time Out described the film as the sequel the original deserved, suggesting that it finally honored the legacy of John McTiernan and Arnold Schwarzenegger's 1987 classic. Wesley Morris of the Boston Globe appreciated director Nimrod Antal's craftsmanship, noting that in a summer of disappointing blockbusters, the film's professional execution represented a romantic gesture toward audiences. Roger Moore of the Orlando Sentinel connected the film to its literary ancestor, The Most Dangerous Game, observing that the core concept of hunters becoming the hunted remains as compelling as ever. Bill Gutekunst of the Arizona Republic identified a common critical observation that the film works well for its first 45 minutes, but struggles to maintain momentum throughout its full runtime. Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune echoed this structural criticism, noting that many genre films percolate effectively for an hour before sputtering as they approach their conclusion. Claudia Puig of USA Today observed that the film's promising premise never fully develops, with plot holes and predictable elements undermining the initial intrigue and tension. Chris Nashawati of Entertainment Weekly delivered one of the harshest reviews, describing the film as an uninspired mess of mediocre action sequences strung together until the final reel. Roger Ebert noted the film's lack of the quiet suspense that made the original effective, comparing it unfavorably to even the cheesy monster movies of previous decades. The film's production budget of $40 million represents a modest investment by Hollywood standards, allowing it to be profitable with its worldwide gross of approximately $127 million. The practical effects approach to the predator creatures, with actors in suits rather than CGI creations, grounds the film in the tactile reality that made the original effective. Derek Mears portrayed the classic predator, bringing physicality and presence to the role, while Carrie Jones and Brian Steele portrayed the three super predators, each with distinct physical characteristics and hunting styles. John Debney's musical score incorporates elements of Alan Silvestri's iconic original theme, while establishing its own identity, supporting the film's tonal shift from horror to action as the narrative progresses. The concept of predator clans with different physical characteristics and hunting philosophies expanded the mythology significantly, suggesting a complex society rather than a monolithic species. The dedicated hunting planet, later named the Game Preserve Planet in expanded universe materials, provided a setting that subsequent media would explore, establishing a location as iconic as the predators themselves. The film's emphasis on assembling a diverse group of skilled warriors influenced the casting approach of later installments, though Prey would eventually return to the simpler premise of a single protagonist. The theme of the hunter becoming the hunted creates dramatic irony throughout the film, as characters accustomed to being the most dangerous figures in their environments find themselves reduced to powerless victims. The early trap involving Cuchillo's body forces the group to confront difficult moral choices between pragmatic survival and human compassion, establishing ethical dilemmas that persist throughout the narrative. Nolan represents the extreme of survival at any cost, having abandoned his humanity entirely, serving as a warning about what the protagonists might become if they remain on the planet too long. Royce's character arc traces his journey from selfish pragmatism to genuine heroism, as he ultimately sacrifices his chance at escape to save Isabel from both Edwin and the predators. Isabel's guilt over failing her spotter drives her actions throughout the film, and her determination to save Edwin, even when it seems foolish, represents her attempt to redeem herself for past failures. Hanzos Yubitsum, the traditional Japanese practice of finger shortening as penance for failures, establishes his honor-bound character and foreshadows his eventual choice to face death with dignity. Edwin's revelation raises uncomfortable questions about human nature, suggesting that among aliens who hunt for sport and honor, the most disturbing predator may actually be human. The film explores what happens when people from different cultures and backgrounds must cooperate for survival, with initial distrust gradually giving way to grudging respect and even sacrifice. Stans, the death row inmate responsible for 38 murders, provides dark comic relief while demonstrating that even the most irredeemable humans can display moments of courage and selflessness. Nikolai combines elements of several characters from the original film, embodying the physical presence of Schwarzenegger, the heavy weapons of Jesse Ventura, and the tracking skills of Bill Duke's character. The film's treatment of the predators as characters rather than simple monsters gives them personality and motivation, with the super predators displaying distinct hunting styles and tactical preferences. The Berserker predator serves as the film's primary antagonist, larger and more aggressive than his companions, displaying a personal vendetta against both the humans and the classic predator. The falconer predator, with his flying companion and spear weapon, represents a more tactical approach to hunting, using aerial reconnaissance and precision strikes against prey. The tracker predator fulfills the traditional role of hunting and pursuit, using his beasts and tracking skills to run down prey that attempts to escape through the jungle. The classic predator's presence creates sympathy for a creature usually portrayed as a monster, as he becomes a victim of his own kind and a potential ally for the human protagonists. The film's visual style emphasizes the alien nature of the environment while maintaining enough familiarity to keep audiences grounded, creating a world that is simultaneously exotic and believable. The production design of the Predator camp and ships maintains continuity with the original films while introducing new elements that suggest the evolution of Predator technology over time. The weaponry used by the Super Predators includes both familiar elements like plasma casters and new additions like the Smart Discs and Predator whips, expanding the arsenal available to the hunters. The film's pacing alternates between intense action sequences and quieter moments of character development and strategic planning, creating a rhythm that maintains audience engagement throughout. The dialogue reveals character through action and choice rather than exposition, with Royce's pragmatic commands and Isabel's moral objections defining their personalities more effectively than lengthy speeches. The film's treatment of violence is both graphic and stylized, emphasizing the brutal reality of the hunt while maintaining the action movie aesthetic expected by franchise fans. The death scenes for each character are carefully crafted to reflect their personalities and skills, with warriors dying in combat while the innocent-seeming Edwin survives through deception. The film's ending deliberately leaves questions unanswered, with Royce and Isabel heading into the jungle rather than finding immediate rescue, suggesting that survival is an ongoing process rather than a single achievement. The legacy of the film within the franchise is secure as the installment that restored theatrical viability after years of direct-to-video and crossover offerings that had diluted the brand. The film's critical standing on Rotten Tomatoes places it below Prey at 94% and the original at 80%, but above The Predator at 33% and the Alien vs. Predator films. Fan discussions on forums reveal that many consider it the second-best film in the franchise, with particular appreciation for its production values and expansion of Predator mythology. Some fans note that the original film has more of a horror feel with its suspense and build-up, while this film operates more as a straight action film with less atmospheric tension. Technically speaking, the film represents a significant advancement in production values compared to its predecessors, with more sophisticated cinematography, effects, and sound design. The film's box office performance of $127 million worldwide justified the production company's investment, while falling short of blockbuster status, ensuring the franchise would continue. Robert Rodriguez's producer role brought his characteristic appreciation for genre filmmaking to the project, ensuring that the film honored its B-movie roots while achieving mainstream production values. The casting of international actors from diverse backgrounds reflected the global nature of the Predator threat, suggesting that the aliens hunt worthy prey from throughout human civilization. Oleg Taktarov, a retired UFC fighter, brought genuine martial arts expertise to his action sequences, lending authenticity to Nikolai's combat scenes that CGI-enhanced performances cannot match. Walton Goggins brought his characteristic intensity to the role of Stans, creating a memorable character despite limited screen time through his distinctive dialogue delivery and physical presence. Mahershala Ali, years before his Oscar-winning performances, brought gravitas to the role of Mombasa, making his early death in the film genuinely impactful despite limited character development. Danny Trejo's casting as a Mexican cartel enforcer played to his established screen persona, creating immediate recognition and expectations that the film subverted through his early death. The film's approach to character development prioritizes archetype over individuality, with each character representing a type of human predator rather than a fully realized individual. This archetypal approach allows audiences to quickly understand each character's function and potential contribution to the group, facilitating the fast-paced narrative. The trade-off for this efficiency is that supporting characters receive minimal development, making their deaths less impactful than they might be with more extensive characterization. The film's structure follows the classic pattern of introducing a group, establishing the threat, eliminating characters one by one, and culminating in a final confrontation between the protagonist and the primary antagonist. This familiar structure provides comfort and predictability for audiences while allowing the film to focus on its unique elements of alien world building and predator mythology expansion. The film's greatest strength lies in its commitment to practical effects and location shooting, creating a tangible world that CGI-heavy productions often fail to achieve. The Hawaiian and Texas locations provide diverse environments within the alien jungle, from dense forests to open fields, creating visual variety that maintains audience interest. The sound design deserves particular mention for its effective use of predator technology sounds, from the distinctive clicking of their voices to the whine of their plasma casters powering up. The film's place in the franchise chronology is somewhat ambiguous, functioning as a direct sequel to the original, while ignoring the Alien vs. Predator films entirely. This approach allows the film to honor the original while creating its own continuity, freeing it from the constraints of the crossover films that many fans disliked. The concept of a Predator civil war introduced in this film would influence later installments, with the Predator exploring similar themes of conflict within the species. The film's ending, with its implication of endless hunters arriving on the planet, suggests that Royce and Isabel face an ongoing struggle rather than a single definitive victory. This open-ended conclusion leaves room for interpretation and potential sequel development, though no direct sequel to this film has been produced to date. The film's legacy includes influencing the visual design and mythology of later Predator media, establishing concepts that expanded universe materials would further develop. In conclusion, this 2010 installment successfully revived a dormant franchise, delivering the sequel fans had awaited since 1987 while expanding the mythology in meaningful ways that would influence subsequent films for years to come. The film's opening minutes function as a masterclass in efficient storytelling, immediately plunging the viewer into a state of disorientation that mirrors Royce's own experience. The visceral sensation of freefall, the sudden deployment of the parachute, and the complete absence of any explanatory dialogue force the audience to actively piece together the situation alongside the characters. This technique establishes a powerful bond between the viewer and the protagonist, ensuring that every subsequent discovery and danger is felt with heightened immediacy. The lush, unfamiliar jungle that greets Royce upon landing is rendered with such tactile detail that it becomes a character in itself, a living entity that is both beautiful and deeply menacing. Every rustle of leaves and distant, unidentified sound contributes to an atmosphere of pervasive dread, reminding the audience that they are as lost in this world as the characters on screen. The sheer inexplicability of their collective arrival, with individuals from completely disparate walks of life, immediately sets the stage for the film's central exploration of human nature under extreme duress. Robert Rodriguez's original 1994 script was very much a product of its time, emerging during a period when the action and sci-fi genres were heavily influenced by the grimier, more grounded aesthetic of films from that decade. The script languished not only due to studio indifference, but also because Rodriguez himself was rapidly ascending as a director with a unique voice, pursuing passion projects like Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn. When the project was finally revived 15 years later, the landscape of Hollywood had shifted considerably, with reboots and legacy sequels becoming the dominant trend. This timing proved fortuitous, as audiences were more receptive to a film that sought to honor its predecessor while consciously ignoring the convoluted mythology of the crossover films. The long gestation period allowed the core concept to marinate, ensuring that when production finally began, the creative team had a clear and focused vision for what they wanted to achieve. The script was dusted off and updated, but its fundamental premise of assembling a rogues gallery of human predators remained intact and more relevant than ever. The title Predators functions on multiple levels, creating a rich tapestry of meaning that extends far beyond a simple nod to aliens. On the surface, it is a straightforward pluralization, indicating the presence of multiple extraterrestrial hunters, a significant escalation from the single creature of the original film. More profoundly, it serves as a collective noun for the human characters, each of whom has made predation their life's work, whether in the jungles of armed conflict or the urban jungles of organized crime. The title thus poses a central philosophical question to the audience. When hunters from Earth are placed in an arena with hunters from another world, who are the true predators and who are merely the game? This ambiguity is sustained throughout the narrative, culminating in the chilling revelation that the most cunning and morally vacuous predator of all may be the seemingly harmless doctor. The title, therefore, is not just a marketing hook, but a concise thesis statement for the entire thematic endeavor of the film. The production's choice of Hawaii and Texas as primary filming locations was a strategic decision that yielded significant aesthetic benefits for the final product. The Hawaiian jungles provided the lush, primordial, and alien-feeling vegetation necessary to sell the concept of an extraterrestrial game preserve. The dense foliage, volcanic rock formations, and dramatic vistas created a sense of scale and otherworldliness that would have been difficult to replicate on a soundstage. The Texas locations, likely used for specific setups and interior scenes, offered a controlled environment for more intricate stunt work and dialogue-heavy sequences. This blend of on-location authenticity and studio precision allowed the filmmakers to create a world that feels both vast and intimate. The 53-day shooting schedule was rigorous, demanding that the cast and crew remain constantly engaged with the challenging environment, a shared experience that likely contributed to the on-screen camaraderie and sense of genuine struggle. The natural light filtering through the canopy and the tangible humidity in the air are details that CGI backgrounds can rarely replicate, grounding the fantastical premise in a palpable reality. The ensemble cast is not merely a collection of action movie archetypes, but a carefully constructed anthropological study of human violence in its various global forms. Each character's background is chosen to represent a distinct flavor of lethality, from the state-sanctioned killing of military operatives to the chaotic brutality of cartel enforcers and the cold-blooded efficiency of organized crime. This diversity ensures that the group's dynamic is inherently unstable, as their different codes of honor, survival instincts, and cultural baggage constantly clash. The Yakuza enforcer's sense of honor stands in stark contrast to the cartel members' brutal expediency, while the IDF sniper's disciplined professionalism is worlds apart from the chaotic rage of a death row inmate. By bringing these incompatible types together, the film creates a pressure cooker of human conflict that is just as compelling as the external threat posed by the predators. Their interactions are a constant negotiation of power, trust, and suspicion, reflecting the broader human history of conflict and uneasy alliances. Adrien Brody's physical transformation for the role of Royce involved a grueling regimen of weight training and combat preparation that fundamentally altered his physique and screen presence. However, the most significant aspect of his performance is not the 25 pounds of muscle he gained, but the intellectual calculation he brings to every moment on screen. His Royce is not a reactive brute, but a constantly thinking strategist, assessing threats, calculating odds, and weighing the value of each member of the group. This cerebral approach to the action hero archetype gives the character a unique and compelling dimension, making his decisions feel earned and his survival a product of intelligence rather than mere physical fortitude. Brody's performance suggests a man who has spent his life making cold, pragmatic choices, and the film's narrative arc is essentially the story of him being forced to reevaluate that entire philosophy. The vulnerability that occasionally flickers beneath his hardened exterior hints at a past that has shaped him into the efficient, isolated predator he has become. Nimrod Antal's directing philosophy, which prioritized acting ability over sheer physical size, allowed the film to explore the psychological dimensions of its characters in ways a more conventional approach might have neglected. By casting actors known for their dramatic range, such as Brody and Fishburne, Antal ensured that the moments of tension, fear, and moral conflict would resonate with authenticity. He understood that the audience's investment in the character's survival is what ultimately makes the action sequences thrilling, and this investment can only be earned through compelling performances. The close-ups and reaction shots are carefully composed to capture the micro-expressions of fear, doubt, and determination that play across the actors' faces. This focus on internal conflict elevates the material beyond a simple monster movie, transforming it into a study of how different personalities cope with the prospect of imminent and inescapable death. Antal's background in tight, suspenseful thrillers like Control is evident in the way he builds and sustains tension, even during quieter, expository scenes. The opening sequence of the characters free-falling through an alien sky is a powerful metaphor for their complete loss of agency and control. These are individuals who, in their respective worlds, were accustomed to being the ones who exerted power over others, whether through violence, intimidation, or authority. Now they are utterly powerless, hurtling towards an unknown fate without any say in the matter. This symbolic stripping of their former identities is the film's starting point, and their subsequent journey is one of attempting to reclaim some measure of control over their destinies. The parachutes, which deploy automatically, are a cruel joke, a facsimile of safety that only delivers them into a more profound danger. The moment they land and begin to assess one another, the process of re-establishing social hierarchies begins, a desperate and often violent attempt to impose order on a chaotic and incomprehensible situation. The jungle itself, with its complete indifference to their presence, reinforces their insignificance in this new world. Isabel's function, as the group's moral compass, is complicated by her own profound sense of guilt and her identity as a trained killer. Her desire to do the right thing is not born of naive idealism, but of a desperate need for personal redemption, a chance to balance the scales for a past failure that continues to haunt her. This internal conflict makes her character far more interesting than a simple peacemaker. She is simultaneously the most empathetic member of the group and one of its most lethal. Her attempts to unite the disparate personalities are not just about survival, but about proving to herself that she is capable of saving lives, not just taking them. This drive leads her to make decisions that are morally admirable but tactically questionable, such as her refusal to abandon Edwin. Her presence challenges Royce's cold pragmatism, forcing him and the audience to consider whether survival is the only metric by which their ordeal should be measured. Her sniper's patience and precision are essential to the group's survival, but it is her humanity that ultimately defines her character. The microcosm of human violence represented by the group extends to their methods, their weapons, and their philosophies, creating a rich subtext about the nature of killing. The cartel enforcer's brutality is personal and visceral, while the Spetsnaz soldier's lethality is a matter of state-directed professionalism. The Yakuza's violence is ceremonial and bound by a strict code, whereas the death row inmates' murders were acts of chaotic, personal rage. This spectrum of human aggression is precisely what makes them such attractive prey for the predators, who value the hunt and the challenge posed by a worthy adversary. The film suggests that the predators are not merely interested in slaughter, but in the sport of pitting themselves against the most dangerous beings the galaxy has to offer. The humans, therefore, are not just victims but participants in a twisted competition, their diverse killing skills the very reason for their abduction. This concept adds a layer of grim irony to their predicament. They are being hunted because they are so adept at hunting. The moment the survivors climb to high ground and see the alien sky is a narrative and emotional pivot point, transforming their situation from a mystery to a nightmare. Until that moment, the possibility, however slim, of being in some remote part of Earth could sustain a flicker of hope. The revelation of 2 moons and an unfamiliar celestial panorama extinguishes that hope entirely, replacing it with the crushing realization of their complete isolation. This scene is handled with a quiet, almost somber dread, allowing the weight of the revelation to sink in for both the characters and the audience. The silence that follows is more powerful than any dialogue could be, a collective moment of existential despair. It is from this point forward that the group's dynamic truly solidifies, as they are united not by common purpose, but by a shared and inescapable fate. The alien sky becomes a constant, looming reminder of their powerlessness, a celestial backdrop to their terrestrial struggle for survival. The discovery of the strange monuments, empty cages, and deadfall traps serves as a haunting archaeological record of past hunts, transforming the jungle into a vast, open-air cemetery. These artifacts are not merely set dressing, but narrative devices that communicate the long and brutal history of this planet as a killing ground. The empty cages whisper of previous victims who were kept as trophies or bait, while the monuments suggest a ritualistic or ceremonial dimension to the predator's hunts. The deadfall traps, likely left by desperate, long-dead prey like Noland, show that the hunted are not entirely passive and that resistance is possible, however futile it may ultimately seem. This layered environment gives the jungle a sense of depth and history, making it feel like a place with a dark purpose that predates the character's arrival by centuries. Each new discovery is a piece of a puzzle they are desperately trying to solve, a clue to the rules of the deadly game in which they are unwilling participants. The attack by the quadrupedal alien beasts, referred to in the credits as beasts, is a brilliant narrative choice that expands the scope of the threat and complicates the group's understanding of their situation. These creatures are not the predators, but their tools, living hunting hounds that can track and harass prey. Their presence establishes that the planet is a fully realized ecosystem, populated by creatures that the predators have either domesticated or imported for the purpose of the hunt. This immediately broadens the range of dangers the humans must face, preventing them from focusing solely on their primary antagonists. The beasts are relentless, animalistic, and immune to reason, representing a primal threat that contrasts with the technological sophistication of their masters. Surviving this attack forces the group to work together for the first time, forging a tentative and temporary alliance. The scene also demonstrates the predators' tactical approach to hunting, using their beasts to wear down and isolate prey before moving in for the kill. Royce's deduction that they are on a game-preserved planet is a moment of intellectual clarity that cuts through the fog of fear and confusion, providing the group with a framework for understanding their ordeal. His reasoning is based on observable facts: the alien sky, the strange creatures, the presence of other dangerous individuals, and a cold, logical assessment of their predicament. This deduction is crucial because it transforms them from passive victims into potential players in a game, however rigged that game may be. Knowing they are being hunted for sport gives them a degree of agency, allowing them to begin formulating strategies based on the hunter's probable behavior. Royce's ability to analyze the situation so quickly reinforces his role as the group's de facto leader, validating Isabel's initial suspicion that he is more than just a simple mercenary. This moment of revelation is the film's intellectual core, the point at which the narrative shifts from pure survival horror to a more strategic game of cat and mouse. The death of Cuchillo is not just a shocking moment of violence, but a tactical lesson in the predator's methods. By using his body as bait, they demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of human psychology, preying on the survivor's compassion and sense of solidarity. They set a trap, and the group, despite their suspicions, walks directly into it because they cannot simply abandon a comrade without confirming his fate. This event forces the group to confront a brutal reality. Their traditional notions of honor and loyalty are liabilities in this new environment. The predators are not mindless killers, but strategic hunters who use every tool at their disposal, including the prey's own emotions. The scene also serves to eliminate one of the more volatile members of the group, streamlining the ensemble and raising the stakes for the remaining characters. From this point forward, Royce's pragmatism, however cold, begins to seem less like selfishness and more like the only viable path to survival. The introduction of the captive classic predator is a masterstroke of franchise mythology, immediately injecting a sense of history and internal conflict into the predator species. For fans of the original film, seeing a creature with the familiar, iconic design imprisoned and helpless is a startling and thought-provoking image. It suggests that the predators are not a unified species but are divided into factions, perhaps even subspecies, with differing ideologies and hunting practices. The super predators, who are larger and have distinct facial features, appear to be a more aggressive and dominant faction that is hunting the classic predators to extinction or subjugation. This revelation transforms the narrative landscape, introducing a potential ally in the form of the captive and a more complex understanding of the threat they face. The presence of the classic predator also serves as a visual reminder of the original film, grounding this sequel in the established continuity while simultaneously expanding it in bold new directions. The three super predators are differentiated not only by their physical appearance, but by their specialized roles in the hunt, a concept that adds a layer of tactical depth to their characterization. The berserker is the enforcer, the physically dominant leader who engages in direct, brutal confrontation. The tracker is the hunter and pursuer, using his beasts and his own heightened senses to follow the prey's trail. The falconer is the strategist and scout, using his flying companion to survey the terrain from above and coordinate attacks. This division of labor suggests a highly organized and efficient hunting culture, where each individual has a specific function within a pack. It elevates them from simple monsters to a coordinated team, making them a far more formidable and intelligent antagonist. Their distinct personalities, conveyed through physical performance and subtle behavioral cues, ensure that each encounter with them feels unique and presents a different kind of challenge for the human survivors. Lawrence Fishburne's portrayal of Noland is a tour de force of character acting, depicting a man who has been fundamentally broken and reshaped by years of solitary survival. His Noland is a feral, paranoid, and deeply unstable individual whose intelligence and resourcefulness have been twisted by isolation into a form of madness. He is a walking cautionary tale, a vision of what the protagonists might become if they survive long enough. His hideout, cluttered with the scavenged gear of countless dead hunters, is a museum of human failure, a testament to the planet's grim efficiency. The information he provides about the predators' hunting practices and the blood feud between the clans is invaluable, but it is delivered with a manic energy that makes every word suspect. His eventual betrayal of the group is not a surprise but a tragic inevitability, the logical conclusion of a psyche that has prioritized individual survival above all else, including its own humanity. Nolan's revelation of the blood feud between the super predators and the classic predators fundamentally alters the film's conflict, suggesting a universe where the hunters themselves are locked in a struggle for dominance. This expands the predator mythology from a simple predator-prey dynamic to a complex social and possibly political one. It implies that the super predators are a new breed, a more advanced or more brutal faction that is actively hunting the traditional predators, perhaps viewing them as rivals or as inferior stock. This internal conflict provides a potential avenue for the human characters to exploit, as Royce attempts to do by freeing the classic predator in exchange for transport. The concept adds a layer of unpredictability to the narrative, as the arrival of the super predators could be interpreted not just as a hunting expedition, but as an act of war against the classic predator clan. This rich backstory, largely implied through Nolan's dialogue and the film's visuals, invites the audience to imagine a much larger conflict raging beyond the confines of the game preserve. The explanation that the planet is a dedicated hunting preserve, stocked with species from across the galaxy, recasts the predators as intergalactic gamekeepers or lords of a private hunting estate. This concept elevates their technology and power to a new level, suggesting a civilization advanced enough to traverse the stars, abduct dangerous life forms, and deposit them on a carefully managed world for their own amusement. It is a chilling vision of the universe, where entire species are reduced to the status of game animals, their lives and deaths serving only to provide sport for a more powerful race. This premise taps into deep-seated fears of powerlessness and exploitation, imagining a cosmos where humanity is not at the top of the food chain, but merely another exhibit in a vast cosmic zoo. The idea that the planet functions this way, season after season, implies a horrifyingly routine operation, with countless beings meeting their ends simply to satisfy the predator's hunting instinct. It is a profoundly nihilistic concept that the film explores with grim determination. Nolan's paranoia and betrayal serve as the ultimate expression of the film's theme that prolonged exposure to this environment corrupts absolutely. He has not just survived. He has become a part of the planet's ecosystem of predation, viewing other humans not as potential allies but as threats to be eliminated or resources to be scavenged. His attempt to suffocate the group and steal their equipment is a horrific inversion of hospitality, transforming his hideout from a sanctuary into a death trap. This act demonstrates that the real danger on this planet is not just the aliens, but the complete breakdown of human morality and trust. Noland represents the endpoint of Royce's own pragmatic philosophy, a future where survival is the only goal and all other considerations have been abandoned. By witnessing Noland's fate, Royce is given a stark choice: continue on his current path and become another Noland, or rediscover a sense of connection and sacrifice that might save his humanity, even if it costs him his life. Nikolai's heroic sacrifice is a pivotal moment that shifts the film's moral center, demonstrating that even in this brutal environment, selfless acts of courage are possible. His decision to detonate his grenades, killing himself and the tracker predator to save the others, is a direct rebuke to Royce's constant pragmatism. It is an act that has no tactical benefit for Nikolai himself, performed solely for the good of the group. This sacrifice elevates his character from a skilled soldier to a genuine hero, proving that the human capacity for love and loyalty can survive even in the heart of darkness. The act also serves to inspire the other characters, particularly Hanzo, who will soon make his own choice for honorable death. Nikolai's death is not just a plot point to eliminate a character, but a thematic statement about the value of selflessness. It reminds the audience and the remaining survivors that there are things worth dying for, a concept that Royce has spent his entire life trying to deny. Hanzo's decision to face the Falconer in single combat is the film's most powerful exploration of honor and cultural identity, a choice that transcends the simple need for survival. As a Yakuza enforcer who has performed yubitsum to atone for past failures, Hanzo is a man deeply bound by a code of honor that has defined his life. The Predator's planet, with its raw, lawless brutality, strips away the modern world and forces him back to the most fundamental tenets of his samurai heritage. Taking up the katana from Nolan's stash is not just an act of desperation, but a reclamation of his identity, a return to the warrior spirit of his ancestors. His duel with Falconer is not a fight for survival, but a ritualized contest, a clash of two ancient warrior cultures. By choosing to die on his feet, facing his enemy with a blade in his hand, Hanzo achieves a form of redemption that mere survival could never provide. His victory, even in death, is a profound assertion of human dignity and skill. The sword fight between Hanzo and Falconer is a masterfully choreographed sequence that contrasts the brutal, high-tech weaponry of the Predator with the elegant, time-honored tradition of Japanese swordsmanship. The Falconer's smart disc and plasma caster represent overwhelming technological superiority, but Hanzo's katana represents centuries of discipline, practice, and philosophy. The fight is not just a physical confrontation, but a symbolic clash between the ancient and the futuristic, the spiritual and the technological. Hanzo's movements are precise and deliberate, each strike carrying the weight of his entire cultural heritage. The setting, a misty, bamboo-like forest, adds to the sequence's mythic quality, transforming it into a legendary duel. When Hanzo finally lands the killing blow, it is a moment of immense catharsis, proving that human skill, courage, and honor can still triumph against seemingly insurmountable odds. It is arguably the film's most memorable and emotionally resonant scene. Edwin's revelation as a serial killer is the film's most audacious narrative gamble, completely subverting the audience's expectations and recontextualizing everything that has come before. The character, played by Topher Grace with a carefully crafted veneer of helplessness and affability, is revealed to be a monster far more terrifying than the extraterrestrial hunters. His casual admission that he sees the Predator's planet as an ideal place to hunt exposes a profound moral void at the heart of human nature. The twist forces a reevaluation of the entire group dynamic, suggesting that the most dangerous member was the one they were all trying to protect. It raises the uncomfortable question of whether the Predators, with their code of honor and their respect for worthy prey, are not somehow more admirable than a human who kills for pleasure. Edwin's character serves as the film's darkest commentary on humanity, suggesting that our capacity for evil is not limited by circumstance, but is an intrinsic part of who we are. Topher Grace's commitment to the role, including performing his own stunts, was essential to making Edwin's transformation believable and unsettling. He had to portray a convincing weakling to sell the initial deception, then seamlessly shift to a chillingly calm and predatory presence once his true nature is revealed. This duality is the key to the character's effectiveness, and Grace navigates the transition with unsettling precision. His performance ensures that Edwin is not a cartoonish villain, but a disturbingly realistic portrayal of a psychopath, someone who views other people not as individuals, but as objects to be manipulated and destroyed. The physicality he brings to the role, even in the final struggle with Royce, reinforces the idea that his earlier weakness was a calculated performance. Grace's willingness to embrace the character's darkness elevates the entire third act, giving the film a human antagonist whose evil is more personal and insidious than that of the alien hunters. The neurotoxic poison Edwin uses on Isabel is a grim testament to his predatory nature, demonstrating that he has been observing, learning, and planning even while playing the role of the helpless victim. His knowledge of the planet's deadly flora is not accidental, but the result of a hunter's careful study of his environment. This detail reveals that Edwin, unlike the others, has not been simply reacting to the Predator's hunt, but has been conducting his own reconnaissance, identifying tools and weapons he can use for his own purposes. The poison is a perfect metaphor for his character, seemingly natural and innocuous, but capable of inflicting swift and total paralysis. It is a weapon that requires no physical strength, only cunning and patience, qualities that Edwin possesses in abundance. This moment confirms that he is not just a survivor but a predator in his own right, one who is perfectly adapted to this new world of unchecked violence. Royce's survival of the ship explosion and his return to save Isabel is the culmination of his entire character arc, the moment when the isolated mercenary finally chooses connection over self-preservation. His decision to go back for her is not a tactical calculation, but an emotional one, driven by a bond that has developed over the course of their ordeal. This act of selflessness redeems his character, proving that beneath his hardened exterior, the capacity for loyalty and love still exists. The film suggests that his earlier pragmatism was a defense mechanism, a way of protecting himself from the pain of loss. By risking everything to save Isabel, he finally allows himself to be vulnerable, and in doing so, he becomes a true hero. His return is also a testament to his incredible resourcefulness, having survived an explosion that should have been fatal and used the chaos to his advantage. It is a triumphant moment that validates the emotional journey he has undergone. The booby-trapping of Edwin's body with grenades is a perfect example of Royce's tactical genius, his ability to turn any situation, no matter how grim, into a weapon. Even in death, Edwin serves a purpose, becoming the bait in Royce's own trap. This act is both pragmatic and poetic. The serial killer, who sought to use others for his own ends, is himself used as a tool for the greater good. The trap demonstrates Royce's understanding of the berserker's psychology, knowing that the predator's curiosity and aggression will lead it to investigate the body. It is a final, devastating counter-ambush that evens the odds and allows Royce to strike the decisive blow. This moment highlights the resourcefulness that has kept Royce alive, his ability to improvise weapons from the most unlikely materials. It is a fitting end for Edwin and a crucial step in the final confrontation. The final defeat of the berserker predator is achieved not through superior strength or firepower, but through intelligence, teamwork, and the exploitation of its own aggressive nature. Royce and Isabel work in tandem, using the environment and the booby-trapped body to create an opening. Their victory is a testament to human ingenuity and the power of cooperation, proving that even the most formidable opponent can be overcome by a well-executed plan. The decapitation of the berserker is a symbolic act, mirroring the predator's own trophy-taking and asserting human dominance in the final moment. It is a hard-won victory that feels earned, the result of the characters' growth and their willingness to fight for each other. The scene reinforces the film's central theme that while humans may be physically weaker, their intelligence and capacity for collaboration make them the most dangerous game of all. The closing image of more parachutes descending in the distance is a bleak and powerful conclusion that denies the protagonists any sense of final victory or peace. Their triumph over the berserker is revealed to be a single battle in an endless war, as the planet's hunting season continues unabated. This open-ended finale suggests a cyclical nightmare, where new prey is constantly arriving to take the place of the old. For Royce and Isabel, there is no escape, only the choice to continue fighting or to succumb to despair. Their decision to head back into the jungle, towards the new arrivals, is an act of defiant hope, a commitment to helping others even when their own salvation is uncertain. The film ends not with a triumphant return to Earth, but with a somber acceptance of their new reality, leaving their ultimate fate ambiguous and deeply unsettling. The film's critical reception, while mixed, generally acknowledged its success in rehabilitating the franchise after the poorly received crossover films. The 65% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes reflects a consensus that the film is a solid, if flawed, entry that understands the core appeal of the Predator concept. Critics appreciated the film's return to the basics of the original, a group of tough characters being hunted in a jungle, while also recognizing its efforts to expand the mythology. The negative reviews often focused on the underdeveloped supporting characters and the third act's loss of momentum, criticisms that highlight the film's struggle to balance its ensemble cast with its action set pieces. Overall, the critical conversation positioned the film as a respectable sequel that honored its predecessor without surpassing it. Lou Lumenick's praise for the film as the sequel fans had waited 23 years for speaks to the profound sense of anticipation and disappointment that had built up over the decades since Predator 2. For a generation of fans, the original film was a touchstone of 80s action cinema, and the subsequent Alien vs. Predator films were seen as a betrayal of its legacy. Lumenick's review validated the feeling that Predators finally delivered the authentic continuation they had been hoping for. This perspective highlights the film's importance not just as a standalone work, but as a piece of fan service, a gesture of respect towards the source material and its devoted audience. His words capture the relief and satisfaction of seeing the franchise return to its roots. Colin Covert's enthusiastic review, placing himself among the fanboys celebrating the film, underscores the movie's primary target audience and its success in appealing to them. His language is visceral and joyful, reflecting the pure, unadulterated pleasure of seeing a beloved franchise done right. This kind of response from a professional critic is significant because it demonstrates that the film's appeal extends beyond mere nostalgia to genuine cinematic excitement. Covert's review acknowledges that the film is made with a deep understanding of what makes the genre work, delivering the thrills and spectacle that fans crave. It is a validation of the filmmaker's approach, confirming that their respect for the original translated into a product that resonated with its most ardent supporters. Nigel Floyd's observation that the film is the sequel the original deserved is a high compliment, suggesting that Predators is not just a competent follow-up, but a worthy companion piece to a classic. This implies that the film captures the spirit, tone, and quality of its predecessor, standing alongside it rather than diminishing it. Floyd's review positions the film within the legacy of John McTiernan's direction and Arnold Schwarzenegger's iconic performance, suggesting that it carries that torch with honor. It is a recognition that the filmmakers understood the assignment, delivering a film that feels like a natural and necessary extension of the original's world. This kind of praise elevates the film above the typical legacy sequel, suggesting it has earned its place in the canon. Wesley Morris's appreciation for director Nimrod Antal's craftsmanship highlights the importance of directorial skill in elevating genre material. In a summer movie season often dominated by bloated, effects-driven spectacles, Morris found Predators to be a refreshing example of efficient and professional filmmaking. His comment that Antal respects your dollars speaks to a sense of value, that the film delivers a satisfying experience without the bloat and incoherence of many blockbusters. This perspective acknowledges the directorial choices, the pacing, the framing, the use of practical effects, as essential to the film's success. Morris's review is a reminder that even within the confines of a franchise film, a skilled director can make a significant difference in the quality of the final product. Roger Moore's connection of the film to Richard Connell's classic short story, The Most Dangerous Game, grounds the Predator franchise in a long and respected literary tradition. The concept of humans being hunted for sport by a more powerful adversary has been a potent source of suspense and social commentary for over a century. Moore's observation reminds us that the film is tapping into a primal fear that has resonated with audiences for generations. This literary antecedent gives the film a depth and resonance that might otherwise be overlooked, connecting its visceral thrills to a timeless exploration of power, violence, and the value of human life. It is a reminder that even the most action-oriented genre films can trace their lineage back to classic storytelling. Bill Gutekunst's observation about the film's structural problem, that it works well for 45 minutes but struggles to maintain momentum, is a critique that many reviewers shared. This suggests that the film's initial setup, with its mystery and character introductions, is its strongest element. The gradual elimination of the supporting cast, while necessary, may lead to a loss of narrative energy as the ensemble shrinks. The third act, which focuses more on the remaining protagonists and the final confrontations, can feel less dynamic than the ensemble scenes that preceded it. This criticism points to a common challenge in the hunted group subgenre, sustaining tension and interest once the group has been whittled down to its core members. It is a structural issue that the film does not entirely overcome. Michael Phillips's metaphor of films that percolate for about an hour before they sputter perfectly captures the sense of anticlimax that some viewers experience with Predators. The initial percolation involves the building of mystery, the establishment of the world, and the dynamic interactions of the ensemble. The sputtering, in this view, occurs when the film shifts into a more conventional action mode, with less character interplay and more straightforward confrontation. This criticism suggests that the film's unique elements are concentrated in its first half, and that the second half relies too heavily on familiar action tropes. The challenge for the filmmakers was to sustain the unique atmosphere and tension they had so carefully built, and in the eyes of some critics, they did not fully succeed. Claudia Puig's critique that the film's promising premise never becomes fully fleshed out points to a sense of unrealized potential. The concept of a planet full of the universe's most dangerous prey, with a blood feud between predator clans, is rich with narrative possibilities. However, the film's relatively short runtime and focus on action mean that many of these ideas are only superficially explored. The plot holes she mentions, such as the exact mechanics of the predator's selection process or the full extent of the clan warfare, can be distracting for viewers who crave a more deeply developed mythology. This critique suggests that the film's ambition to expand the universe may have exceeded its ability to fully explore the concepts it introduced, leaving audiences with questions rather than satisfying answers. Chris Nashawati's harsh review, calling the film an uninspired mess, represents the more negative end of the critical spectrum. His perspective suggests that for some viewers, the film's flaws outweigh its strengths, resulting in a disappointing and forgettable experience. The characterization of the action sequences as mediocre is a significant criticism for a film in this genre, where the quality of the action is paramount. Nashawati's review serves as a reminder that the film's reception was not universally positive, and that for some, it failed to capture the magic of the original. His disappointment as a self-professed fan underscores the high expectations that any sequel to a classic must meet. Roger Ebert's comparison of the film's lack of suspense to even the cheesy monster movies of the past is a particularly pointed criticism from one of cinema's most respected voices. His observation that Predators lacks the quiet suspense of the original gets to the heart of what many fans feel distinguishes the two films. The original built its tension through slow reveals, the characters' growing unease, and the invisible threat in the trees. Predators, by contrast, is more overt and action-oriented from the beginning. Ebert's comment suggests that in trading suspense for action, the film lost a crucial element of what made the first movie so effective. His review is a reminder that atmosphere and tension can be more powerful than spectacle. The film's modest $40 million budget is a testament to the efficiency of its production and a key factor in its financial success. In an era of bloated blockbusters costing hundreds of millions, Predators was produced for a fraction of that amount, allowing it to turn a comfortable profit with its $127 million worldwide gross. This fiscal responsibility meant that the filmmakers had to be creative and resourceful, relying on practical effects, smart casting, and efficient location shooting rather than excessive CGI. The budget constraints may have actually benefited the film, forcing a focus on character and story rather than empty spectacle. Its profitability ensured that the franchise remained viable for future installments, proving that a well-made genre film could succeed without a record-breaking budget. The commitment to practical effects for the predator creatures is one of the film's most lauded aspects, grounding the fantastical elements in a tangible reality that CGI often fails to achieve. Seeing actors in detailed suits, moving through real environments, creates a sense of physical presence and weight that makes the creatures feel real and threatening. The performers inside the suits, like Derek Mears and Brian Steele, brought a physicality and personality to the roles that would be difficult to achieve with digital animation. This approach honors the original film's groundbreaking use of practical effects, creating a visual continuity that fans appreciate. The slight imperfections and the palpable physicality of the suits add to the creatures' menace, making them feel like living, breathing organisms rather than digital constructs. John Debney's musical score skillfully walks the line between honoring Alan Silvestri's iconic original themes and creating a new sonic identity for the film. The familiar, pulsing rhythms of the Predators' music are woven into the score, triggering instant recognition and tapping into the audience's nostalgia. At the same time, Debney introduces new motifs that reflect the expanded scope of the film and the unique characteristics of the super predators. The score shifts from moments of tense, atmospheric dread to bombastic, action-oriented cues, mirroring the film's tonal journey. Debney's work is an often underappreciated element of the film's success, providing a crucial emotional and rhythmic foundation for the narrative. His music helps to guide the audience's emotional response, heightening the suspense and amplifying the excitement. The concept of predator clans with distinct physical characteristics, such as the larger size and different mandibles of the super predators, was a significant expansion of the franchise's lore. It implied a more complex social structure than previously imagined, with potential for different cultures, technologies, and hunting philosophies. This idea opened up countless possibilities for future stories, suggesting that the predator species was not monolithic but diverse and perhaps even factionalized. The visual distinction between the classic predator and the super predators made this internal conflict immediately apparent to the audience, communicating a wealth of information without the need for extensive dialogue. This expansion of the mythology was one of the film's most lasting contributions to the franchise, influencing how the species would be portrayed in subsequent media. The Game Preserve Planet, as it came to be known, became an iconic location in the Predator universe, a terrifying world where the rules of Earth no longer apply. Its establishment as a dedicated hunting ground, stocked with dangerous life from across the galaxy, provided a setting ripe for exploration in comics, novels, and video games. The planet itself, with its alien jungles, strange creatures, and the scattered remnants of countless victims, is a character in its own right. It is a place of death, but also a place of desperate survival and potential rebellion. The film's success in creating this memorable location ensured that it would become a staple of the expanded universe, a dark and fascinating corner of the franchise's mythology. Its haunting beauty and inherent danger make it a perfect setting for stories of survival and conflict. The film's influence on the casting approach of later installments is evident in the continued emphasis on assembling diverse and skilled ensembles. While The Predator would take this in a more comedic and chaotic direction, the core idea of bringing together characters with unique abilities and backgrounds remained. However, the massive success of Prey would later demonstrate that a return to a simpler, more focused narrative with a single, compelling protagonist could be equally, if not more, effective. The legacy of Predators in this regard is mixed. It proved the viability of the ensemble approach, but also highlighted its challenges in terms of character development. The franchise continues to evolve, learning from the successes and shortcomings of each installment. The theme of the hunter becoming the hunted is given dramatic irony through the characters' backstories, as each has a history of preying on others. This creates a rich subtext, as the audience is constantly aware of the disconnect between their former identities and their current helplessness. The cartel enforcer, who once terrorized villages, now cowers from an unseen alien. The death row inmate, who took 38 lives, is now reduced to a trembling fugitive. This irony is not merely for dramatic effect but serves a thematic purpose, suggesting a kind of cosmic justice or a leveling of the playing field. The film asks whether these individuals, who have caused so much suffering, are worthy of redemption, or if their predicament is simply the natural order of a universe where everyone is both predator and prey. The early trap involving Cuchillo's body is the film's first major ethical test, forcing the group to choose between their humanity and their survival. The decision to approach the body, knowing it could be a trap, is an act of compassion that is almost immediately punished. This event establishes a brutal moral landscape where traditional human values are not just useless but dangerous. It sets the tone for the difficult choices to come, forcing each character to define their own ethical boundaries. Royce's reluctance to engage with the trap is validated, strengthening his position as the group's pragmatist. The scene serves as a harsh initiation, teaching the survivors that on this planet, sentiment is a luxury they cannot afford. It is a lesson that most of them will struggle to learn. Royce's character arc, from selfish pragmatism to genuine heroism, is the emotional backbone of the film, providing a satisfying narrative trajectory for the protagonist. His journey is not a sudden transformation but a gradual process, marked by small moments of connection and reluctant acts of protection. His decision to leave Isabel and Edwin behind represents a low point, a return to his old ways. However, his subsequent survival and his choice to return for her represent a true and meaningful change. This arc gives the film its emotional weight, ensuring that the audience is invested in Royce's fate not just as a survivor, but as a human being. His redemption is hard-won and therefore deeply satisfying, a testament to the power of human connection in the face of overwhelming odds. That Isabel's guilt and her determination to redeem herself by saving others is a powerful motivating force that drives much of the film's moral conflict. Her refusal to abandon Edwin, even when it is clearly the tactically sound decision, is an act of defiance against the planet's brutal logic. It is a statement that she will not become like Noland, that she will cling to her humanity even if it costs her life. This commitment makes her the group's moral center, the character who consistently advocates for compassion and solidarity. Her presence challenges Royce and the audience to consider whether survival is worth the price of one's soul. In the end, it is her unwavering humanity that inspires Royce's final act of heroism, proving that her moral stance was not weakness, but a different kind of strength. Hanzo's Ubitsum is a small but potent detail that speaks volumes about his character's values and his past. This act of self-mutilation, performed as penance for failure, establishes him as a man bound by a strict code of honor, for whom redemption must be earned through suffering. It foreshadows his eventual choice to face Falconer in single combat, another act of self-sacrifice to restore his honor. The Ubitsum also visually distinguishes him from the other characters, a constant reminder of his cultural background and his personal history of atonement. This detail adds depth to a character who has relatively little dialogue, communicating his inner life through a single, powerful image. It is a testament to the film's attention to character detail, using visual cues to enrich the narrative. Edwin's revelation that the most disturbing predator may be human is the film's most unsettling and thought-provoking theme. It suggests that evil is not an external force, brought to Earth by alien invaders, but an intrinsic part of human nature. The predators hunt for sport, for honor, or for tradition, but Edwin hunts for the pure, sadistic pleasure of it. This comparison does not excuse the predator's actions, but rather highlights the unique darkness of the human capacity for cruelty. The film leaves the audience with the uncomfortable question of who the real monsters are. Is it the alien, following its nature and its cultural codes, or the human, who knows the difference between right and wrong and chooses evil anyway? This moral ambiguity elevates the film beyond a simple good versus evil narrative. The film's exploration of cooperation between people from different cultures is a microcosm of human history, showing both the conflicts and the potential for unity. The initial distrust and hostility between the characters reflect the real-world tensions that divide humanity. However, as the external threat intensifies, these differences begin to fade, replaced by a grudging respect and a shared purpose. Nikolai fights alongside Hanzo, Isabel works with Royce, and even Stans contributes to the group's survival. The film suggests that in the face of a common enemy, humanity can overcome its internal divisions and work together. This message of unity is a hopeful counterpoint to the film's darker themes, offering a vision of cooperation as the key to survival. It is a reminder that our shared humanity is more important than our cultural differences. Stans, the death row inmate, provides a crucial element of dark comic relief, his cynical and often profane observations puncturing the tension and reminding the audience of the absurdity of their situation. However, his character is not merely comic relief. He also demonstrates that even the most seemingly irredeemable individuals are capable of moments of courage. His decision to distract the berserker, allowing the others to escape, is a selfless act that redeems him, however briefly. He dies not as the monster he was on Earth, but as a man who made a choice for the greater good. This complexity makes him one of the film's more memorable supporting characters, a reminder that people are not easily categorized as simply good or evil. His final act adds a layer of tragic heroism to an otherwise despicable character. Nikolai's character serves as a tribute to the original film's cast, combining the physical presence of Schwarzenegger's Dutch, the heavy weaponry of Blaine, and the tracking skills of Mac. This amalgamation is a subtle nod to the original's ensemble, suggesting that Nikolai carries the spirit of those iconic characters. His Russian Spetsnaz background also adds a new dimension, representing a different military tradition from the American-centric cast of the first film. His loyalty to his comrades and his willingness to sacrifice himself are classic soldierly virtues, making him a sympathetic and honorable figure. His death is one of the film's most impactful, a heroic end for a character who embodied the best qualities of a warrior. The treatment of the predators as characters with distinct personalities and motivations is a key element of the film's success in expanding the franchise. They are not simply mindless killing machines, but individuals with different roles and temperaments. The berserker's rage, the tracker's patience, and the falconer's cunning are all conveyed through their actions and physical performances. This characterization makes them more interesting and formidable antagonists, as the human characters must adapt to each one's unique hunting style. It also creates a sense of a society, with individuals who have specialized functions within a group. The predators are elevated from monsters to characters, making their eventual defeat all the more satisfying. The berserker predator's role as the primary antagonist is defined by his sheer physical dominance and his personal, almost vengeful, pursuit of the humans. He is larger, more aggressive, and less patient than his companions, seemingly driven by a pure killer instinct. His confrontation with the classic predator and his destruction of the ship demonstrate his ruthlessness and his disregard for his own kind. He is a force of nature, an unstoppable engine of destruction that the human characters must find a way to outsmart. His eventual defeat at the hands of Royce and Isabel is a triumph of cunning over brute force, a testament to human intelligence. The Berserker is a memorable and intimidating villain, embodying the pure, predatory essence of his species. The falconer predator, with his flying companion and his tactical approach, represents a different kind of threat, one based on strategy and coordination. His ability to survey the battlefield from above gives the super predators a significant advantage, allowing them to track the humans' movements and anticipate their actions. The flying creature is an extension of his will, a remote eye that can scout ahead and report back. His duel with Hanzo is a clash of two strategists, each using their chosen weapon with precision and skill. The falconer's death at Hanzo's hands is a significant victory, removing the super predator's aerial reconnaissance and leveling the playing field. He is a sophisticated and dangerous hunter, a worthy opponent for Hanzo's samurai skill. The tracker predator embodies the primal essence of the hunt, using his beasts and his instincts to pursue prey relentlessly. He is the one who follows their trail, who sets his creatures upon them, who never gives up the chase. His connection to his beasts suggests a more primal, nature-based aspect of predator culture, a hunter who relies on the old ways of tracking and pursuit. His death at the hands of Nikolai is a significant blow to the super predators, eliminating their ability to easily follow the survivors. The tracker represents the patient, inexorable aspect of the hunt, the knowledge that no matter how far you run, the hunter is always behind you. His presence adds a layer of primal terror to the film's threats. The classic predator's transformation from a feared enemy to a sympathetic victim and potential ally is one of the film's most interesting narrative developments. Seeing this iconic creature, so familiar from the original film, imprisoned and helpless, immediately generates empathy. It complicates the audience's relationship with the predator species, suggesting that they are not a unified evil, but a diverse people with their own internal conflicts. Royce's decision to free him is a pragmatic gamble, but it also represents a form of alliance between two different kinds of predators against a common, more powerful enemy. The classic predator's subsequent decapitation by the Berserker is a shocking moment, reinforcing the brutality of the super predators and eliminating a potential ally. His brief presence adds a layer of tragic complexity to the film's mythology. The film's visual style, with its emphasis on dense foliage, dramatic lighting, and claustrophobic framing, creates a palpable sense of unease and danger. The camera often stays close to the characters, sharing their limited perspective and heightening the tension of not knowing what lurks just beyond the frame. The use of natural light filtering through the canopy creates a dappled, shifting environment where shadows conceal countless threats. The alien sky, with its unfamiliar celestial bodies, is a constant visual reminder of their isolation. This careful visual craftsmanship immerses the audience in the world of the film, making the danger feel immediate and real. The cinematography is a crucial element in building and sustaining the film's atmosphere of dread. The production design of the Predator camp and ships successfully balances continuity with innovation, creating technology that feels both familiar and advanced. The ships retain the organic, almost biological aesthetic of the original films, with their ribbed interiors and strange, glowing interfaces. The camp, with its hanging cages and trophy displays, reinforces the idea of the predators as collectors and hunters. New elements, such as the super predators' different armor and weaponry, suggest an evolution or divergence in their technology. This careful attention to design ensures that the film feels like a natural extension of the original universe, while still introducing new and exciting elements. The production design grounds the fantastical technology in a tangible, believable reality. The expanded arsenal of the super predators, including the smart discs and predator whips, adds new dimensions to the action sequences and provides fresh challenges for the human characters. The smart disc, a returning weapon from Predator 2, is used with lethal precision by the falconer. The Predator whip, a new addition, allows the Berserker to attack from a distance with devastating force. These weapons are not just cosmetic changes, but tools that dictate the Predator's fighting styles and create unique action beats. The humans must constantly adapt to new threats, learning the capabilities of each weapon through trial and often fatal error. This variety keeps the action sequences fresh and unpredictable, preventing them from becoming repetitive. The film's pacing, which alternates between intense action and quieter character moments, is essential for maintaining audience engagement throughout the runtime. The action sequences provide visceral thrills and demonstrate the immediate danger, while the quieter scenes allow for character development, strategic planning, and the building of tension. This rhythm prevents the film from becoming an exhausting barrage of spectacle, giving the audience time to breathe and invest in the characters' fates. The balance between these two modes is carefully calibrated, ensuring that each action sequence feels earned and impactful. The quieter moments also provide crucial exposition, revealing the characters' backgrounds and motivations in a natural, organic way. The film's dialogue is often sparse and functional, revealing character through action and choice rather than lengthy speeches. Royce's commands are short and pragmatic, revealing his leadership style and his focus on survival. Isabel's objections are moral and empathetic, defining her as the group's conscience. The supporting characters are often defined by a single line or gesture, their personalities quickly established through efficient characterization. This approach keeps the film moving at a brisk pace, trusting the audience to understand the characters through their actions. The dialogue serves the narrative, providing information and revealing character without slowing down the action. It is a model of efficient, functional screenwriting. The film's treatment of violence is graphic enough to convey the brutal reality of the hunt, but stylized enough to remain within the bounds of an action movie. The deaths are often sudden and shocking, emphasizing the character's vulnerability. The predator's methods of killing are varied and creative, showcasing their advanced weaponry and their different hunting styles. The violence is never gratuitous but always serves to advance the plot, eliminate a character, or demonstrate a threat. It is an integral part of the film's world, a constant reminder of the stakes involved. The action choreography ensures that the violence is impactful and exciting, a key component of the film's entertainment value. The death scenes are carefully crafted to reflect each character's personality and narrative function. Cuchillo dies as he lived, a victim of his own compassion and the predator's cunning. Nikolai dies a hero, sacrificing himself for his comrades. Hanzo dies with honor, facing his enemy in single combat. Stans dies with a final act of courage, redeeming his violent past. Even Edwin's death as booby-trapped bait is a fitting end for a manipulative predator. These carefully orchestrated deaths ensure that each character's exit is meaningful, contributing to the film's themes and providing emotional closure. No death feels arbitrary or wasted. Each one serves a purpose in the larger narrative. The film's ambiguous ending, with Royce and Isabel heading into the jungle rather than finding rescue, is a bold choice that denies the audience easy closure. It suggests that their struggle is not over, that survival on this planet is an ongoing process, not a single achievement. The appearance of more parachutes in the distance reinforces this idea, transforming their personal victory into a drop in the ocean of ongoing suffering. The ending is both bleak and hopeful. Bleak in its implication of endless struggle, hopeful in Royce and Isabel's decision to continue fighting and to help the new arrivals. This ambiguity invites the audience to imagine their own conclusion, to ponder the character's ultimate fate. It is a memorable and thought-provoking finale. The film's legacy within the franchise is secure as the installment that successfully revived the series for a new generation. After years of direct-to-video offerings and the divisive Alien vs. Predator films, Predators brought the franchise back to theaters with a sense of purpose and respect for the source material. It proved that there was still an audience for Predator films and that the core concept remained viable. Its financial success and generally positive reception paved the way for future installments, ensuring that the franchise would continue to evolve. It occupies a crucial place in the series' history, bridging the gap between the original films and the modern era. The film's critical standing, while not as high as Prey or the original, reflects its status as a solid and respectable entry that accomplished its goals. The 65% rating on Rotten Tomatoes indicates that a majority of critics found it to be a worthwhile film, despite its flaws. It is generally ranked above the more poorly received installments, such as The Predator and the Alien vs. Predator films. This critical consensus places it firmly in the middle tier of the franchise, a film that is appreciated for its strengths but also recognized for its shortcomings. It is a benchmark against which later films would be measured. Fan discussions on forums reveal a passionate and engaged audience that continues to debate the film's merits and its place in the franchise. Many fans appreciate its expansion of the Predator mythology, its commitment to practical effects, and its ensemble cast. The film is often cited as the second best in the series, a testament to its success in satisfying the core fanbase. However, debates continue about its pacing, its character development, and its overall quality compared to the original. This ongoing conversation demonstrates the film's lasting impact and its ability to generate discussion among fans. It has secured its place in the franchise's lore, a film that fans continue to watch and debate. The observation that the original film has more of a horror feel, while Predators operates as a straight action film, is a key distinction that many fans and critics make. The original built its suspense through the unknown, the invisible enemy in the trees, and the slow disintegration of the team. Predators is more upfront with its threats, introducing the predators and their world relatively early. This shift in genre emphasis is a significant difference in tone and approach. Some viewers prefer the suspense of the original, while others appreciate the more action-oriented approach of the sequel. This distinction highlights the different ways the franchise can be interpreted and enjoyed. Technically, the film represents a significant advancement in production values compared to its predecessors, with more sophisticated cinematography, sound design, and special effects. The 23 years between the original and this sequel saw enormous advances in filmmaking technology, and Predators benefits from these developments. The camera work is more dynamic, the sound design is more immersive, and the effects are more seamless. However, the film's commitment to practical effects ensures that it retains a grounded, tactile quality that newer technologies sometimes lack. It represents a successful blend of modern filmmaking techniques and old-school, hands-on craftsmanship. The film's box office performance of $127 million worldwide was a solid success, ensuring that the franchise remained commercially viable. The profit margin, given the modest $40 million budget, was substantial, demonstrating the value of efficient, mid-budget filmmaking. This financial success sent a clear message to the studio that the Predator franchise still had commercial potential. It paved the way for future installments, including The Predator and the eventual critical and commercial triumph of Prey. The film's profitability was a key factor in ensuring the franchise's continued existence. Robert Rodriguez's role as producer was crucial in shaping the film's tone and ensuring it honored its genre roots. His career has been defined by a love of low-budget, high-concept genre filmmaking, and he brought that sensibility to Predators. He understood the importance of practical effects, efficient storytelling, and a respect for the source material. His involvement lent the project a certain credibility, assuring fans that the film was in good hands. His influence is evident in the film's lean, mean approach to its narrative and its focus on visceral thrills. He was the ideal producer to shepherd the project back to the screen. The casting of international actors from diverse backgrounds was a deliberate choice to reflect the global nature of the Predator threat and to create a more interesting ensemble. It also had the practical benefit of appealing to international audiences, broadening the film's commercial appeal. The actors from Russia, Brazil, Japan, and the United States brought their own cultural perspectives and performance styles to their roles. This diversity enriched the film's character dynamics and made the group feel like a genuine cross-section of humanity. It was a smart, creative, and commercial decision that paid off in the final product. Oleg Taktarov's background as a UFC fighter brought an undeniable authenticity to Nikolai's action sequences. His movements, his physicality, and his understanding of combat gave his scenes a realism that would be difficult to achieve with a purely trained actor. This authenticity extended to his interactions with the other characters, lending his performance a grounded, believable quality. Taktarov's presence in the cast added a layer of credibility to the film's depiction of violence and physical prowess. He was not just an actor playing a soldier. He was a genuine combat athlete, and that experience informed his entire performance. Walton Goggins' performance as Stans is a masterclass in creating a memorable character with limited screen time. His distinctive dialogue delivery, his twitchy physicality, and his darkly comic sensibility make Stans an unforgettable presence. He brings a chaotic energy to every scene he's in, a welcome counterpoint to the grim determination of the other characters. Goggins' performance ensures that Stans is more than just a stereotype. He is a fully realized, if deeply flawed, human being. His final act of sacrifice is all the more powerful because of the vividness of his characterization. Mahershala Ali's performance as Mombasa, though brief, demonstrates the presence and gravitas that would later make him an Oscar-winning actor. He brings a quiet intensity to the role, making Mombasa a dignified and formidable figure even in his limited screen time. His death early in the film is impactful precisely because Ali makes the character feel so real and substantial. His performance is a reminder that even small roles can leave a lasting impression when played by a talented actor. His presence in the cast added a layer of quality to the ensemble. Danny Trejo's casting as Cuchillo plays on his established screen persona as a tough, intimidating figure, making his early death all the more surprising and effective. Audiences familiar with Trejo's work expect him to be a survivor, a formidable presence who will last until the end. The film subverts this expectation by killing him off relatively early, demonstrating that no one is safe and that past reputation means nothing on this planet. This subversion is a powerful narrative tool, raising the stakes and signaling to the audience that the rules have changed. Trejo's brief but memorable performance serves this function perfectly. The film's approach to character development, prioritizing archetype over individuality, is an efficient narrative strategy that allows the film to move quickly. Each character is defined by a single clear trait: the leader, the sniper, the soldier, the criminal, the doctor. This allows the audience to immediately understand their function and their potential role in the group. However, this efficiency comes at a cost, as the supporting characters never become fully realized individuals. Their deaths, while impactful in the moment, lack the emotional resonance that deeper characterization could provide. This trade-off is a common challenge in ensemble action films, and Predators navigates it reasonably well. This archetypal approach allows the fast-paced narrative to maintain its momentum without getting bogged down in extensive backstory. The film trusts the audience to fill in the blanks, to understand these types of characters from countless other films and stories. This shorthand is effective in the early going, quickly establishing the group dynamic and the potential conflicts. It allows the film to focus on its unique elements: the alien world, the predator mythology, and the central thematic questions. The trade-off in character depth is an acceptable price for the narrative efficiency it provides. The film's structure, following the classic pattern of introducing a group, establishing a threat, and eliminating characters one by one, is a tried-and-true formula for suspense and action. This structure provides a reliable framework that audiences instinctively understand, creating anticipation for each character's fate. The gradual elimination of the supporting cast raises the stakes with each death, focusing the narrative on the remaining protagonists. This formulaic approach is not a weakness but a strength, providing a solid foundation upon which the film can build its unique elements. It is a classic structure for a reason, and Predators executes it competently. The film's commitment to practical effects and location shooting is its greatest aesthetic strength, creating a tangible, immersive world that CGI-heavy productions often fail to achieve. The actors are interacting with real environments, responding to real physical challenges, and fighting creatures that are physically present on set. This tangible reality grounds the film's fantastical elements, making them feel more immediate and believable. The sweat, the mud, the physical exhaustion are all real, and this authenticity translates to the screen. It is a testament to the filmmaker's commitment to old-school craftsmanship, a choice that pays dividends in the final product. The diverse Hawaiian and Texas locations provide a rich visual tapestry for the film, preventing the jungle setting from becoming monotonous. The dense forests, the open fields, the rocky outcrops, and the misty highlands all offer different visual textures and create unique challenges for the characters. This variety keeps the audience visually engaged and ensures that each action sequence has a distinct look and feel. The locations are not just backdrops but active elements of the narrative, shaping the characters' movements and strategies. The film's visual diversity is a key factor in maintaining audience interest throughout its runtime. The film's sound design is a masterful element of its construction, using audio to build tension, convey information, and create a rich auditory landscape. The distinctive clicking of the Predators' voices is an immediately recognizable and deeply unsettling sound. The whine of their plasma casters powering up is a cue for imminent danger. The sounds of the jungle, the rustling leaves, the distant cries of alien creatures, create a constant backdrop of unease. The sound design immerses the audience in this world, making the danger feel immediate and visceral. It is an often overlooked but essential component of the film's success. The film's place in the franchise chronology, functioning as a direct sequel to the original while ignoring the Alien vs. Predator films, was a deliberate and wise creative decision. It allowed the filmmakers to focus on the core elements of the Predator mythos without being burdened by the convoluted lore of the crossover films. This approach respected the original film while creating a clean slate for new stories. It was a decision that pleased fans who had been disappointed by the direction of the franchise. It established Predators as the true successor to the 1987 classic. The concept of a Predator civil war, introduced in this film, would prove to be a lasting addition to the franchise's mythology, influencing later installments. The Predator would explore similar themes of conflict within the species, suggesting that the civil war hinted at in Predators had continued and intensified. This idea of a divided species, with different factions vying for dominance, added a new layer of complexity to the Predator universe. It opened up narrative possibilities for stories that explored Predator society and politics. The concept was a significant and lasting contribution to the franchise's lore. The film's open-ended conclusion, with its implication of endless hunters arriving on the planet, leaves room for interpretation and potential sequel development. It suggests a cyclical, endless nightmare from which there is no escape. This ambiguity is both satisfying and frustrating. It provides a thematic conclusion while denying narrative closure. The possibility of a direct sequel has been discussed but never realized, leaving the characters' fates permanently suspended. This open ending has become a defining characteristic of the film, a topic of fan discussion and speculation for years. The film's legacy includes influencing the visual design and mythology of later Predator media, with its concepts and designs appearing in comics, novels, and video games. The Super Predators, the game Preserve Planet, and the idea of Predator clans have all been incorporated into the expanded universe. The film's visual aesthetic, its blend of practical and digital effects, has also influenced subsequent productions. It has become a touchstone for the franchise, a key reference point for later creators. Its influence extends far beyond the film itself, shaping the Predator universe for years to come. In conclusion, this 2010 installment successfully revived a dormant franchise, delivering the sequel fans had awaited since 1987, while expanding the mythology in meaningful ways that would influence subsequent films for years to come. Its blend of practical effects, ensemble casting, and thematic ambition created a worthy successor to the original. While not without its flaws, it remains a respected and influential entry in the Predator canon, a film that honored the past while charting a course for the future. Its legacy is secure as the film that brought the Predator back to the big screen with purpose and conviction.